In the world of open source software, some projects grow nice and steady, and then some projects just explode. We're talking about one of those explosions today, a project that blew past a tech giant like React in just 60 days, a project that made NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang say it's the next ChatGPT. We are talking about OpenClaw. Okay, let's get right into it.
So to really get what all the hype is about, you have to grasp this one fundamental shift. For the last few years, our main way of talking to AI has been through chatbots, right? You ask it something, it answers. It generates text, it generates images, it's an assistant you talk to. OpenClaw is something else entirely. This is an AI agent. You don't ask it things, you instruct it. It doesn't just generate stuff for you to look at, it does stuff. It's an assistant that actually works for you.
So let's just nail down what we're actually talking about here. An AI agent, which is what OpenClaw is a digital assistant that can handle really complex multi-step tasks. We're talking about sending your emails, scheduling meetings, browsing the web to find something, and doing it all with very little hand-holding. Think about it this way. It's the difference between asking an AI for a recipe versus having an AI that actually orders all the groceries for you. It's a huge leap.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to unpack this whole story. We'll kick things off with how it all started, with a simple 1-hour prototype. Then we'll get into its absolutely chaotic viral climb, including this bizarre thing called the lobster phenomenon in China. After that, we got to talk about the serious security problems before we look ahead and what this massive shift means for the future of tech.
Every massive tech shift has an origin story, right? Well, OpenClaw begins with one guy, Peter Steinberger, and his journey to creating this thing, well, it was anything but a straight line.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It's a roller coaster. For 13 years, Steinberger grinds it out, bootstrapping a super successful software company. Then in 2021, boom, he gets this massive exit, over 100 million euros. Living the dream, right? Well, not exactly. What came next was what he called retirement burnout. He felt totally empty, couldn't even bring himself to code. But then the AI boom kind of pulled him back in. He started tinkering, building, project after project, 43 of them to be exact, and none of them went anywhere. And then there was project number 44, a little prototype he whipped up in just 1 hour. That was the one.
So how does this thing actually work? It's kind of beautiful in its simplicity. It all starts with you sending a simple command through an app you already use, like WhatsApp or Telegram. That message goes to your local OpenClaw agent. It's running on your own computer, which is key. The agent then connects to a big, powerful large language model to figure out the best way to tackle the task. And then, and this is the magic part, it just does it. It executes, manages your calendar, writes code, browses the web, controls your smart lights, all by itself.
Okay, so we know what it is and how it works. Now let's talk about how it got out into the world. And to call its launch chaotic would be a massive understatement. We're talking legal threats, online trolls, and growth that was so fast it was almost impossible to control. Get this, the project had 3 different names in just its first few months. It started as Claudebot, which was a clever nod to the AI model Claude. Well, Anthropic, the company that makes Claude, wasn't thrilled and sent a trademark complaint. So he renamed it Moltbot. That lasted all of 3 days before he changed it again to the name we know now, OpenClaw. And as if that wasn't enough drama, right in the middle of all that, a crypto gang hijacked his social media accounts. Just a totally wild start.
But here's the crazy part. All that chaos, it didn't slow the project down one bit. It was like pouring gasoline on a fire. In just the first 72 hours it was on GitHub, OpenClaw got 60,000 stars. Now, to put that in perspective, most open source projects would kill to get a few hundred stars in a whole year. This was a signal that something entirely different was happening here.
I mean, just look at this comparison. It is absolutely insane. On the left, you have React. That's the library built by Facebook that basically powers a huge chunk of the internet you use every day. It took 13 years to get to 243,000 stars on GitHub. Now look at the right. That's OpenClaw. It didn't just match that number. It blew past it in about 60 days. It is by far the fastest growing open source project in history. And it just keeps going. As of right now, the project is rocketing past 321,000 stars. It's an absolute runaway train. It's a movement. But to really understand the cultural force of OpenClaw, we have to look at one country where its adoption wasn't just viral. It was a full-blown phenomenon.
All right, now we get to one of the most bizarre and fascinating parts of this whole story. Its completely unexpected and wild explosion in China, which became known as the lobster phenomenon.
Yeah, you heard that right. In China, OpenClaw got a nickname. The phrase, raising the lobster, just went viral everywhere. It became this cultural shorthand for setting up your own personal AI agent to go automate your work and your life. It completely captured the public's imagination. This idea that you could have this powerful little digital creature just working for you in the background.
And this wasn't just some online meme, you guys. It created an actual, real-world economy, almost overnight. You can see on this map these hotspots popped up, where a whole cottage industry of tech-savvy people emerged. They would charge you about $72 to come to your house and set up a lobster for you. At the same time, local governments were jumping on board. Big tech hubs like Shenzhen and Wuxi started offering millions of dollars in grants for businesses that were built on OpenClaw.
And of course, you know the big tech giants in China weren't just going to sit on the sidelines and watch this happen. Tencent, the company behind the super app WeChat, they launched a suite of tools they actually called Lobster Special Forces. And ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, they quickly rolled out their own version called ArcClaw. They baked this phenomenon right into their massive platforms. But as the hype was reaching its peak, a much darker side of this whole thing started to show.
We have to talk about the security risks. Because the very things that make OpenClaw so incredibly powerful are also the things that make it unbelievably dangerous. The whole design philosophy of the project led to what a lot of experts started calling a security nightmare.
And look, don't just take it from me. The major analyst firm Gartner, they did not pull any punches. They flat out called OpenClaw's design insecure by default and said its security risks were unacceptable. Coming from a major industry voice like that, this was a massive red flag.
A cybersecurity firm, Palo Alto Networks, broke the problem down into what they called the lethal trifecta of risk. Okay, so first, the agent can see everything on your computer, all your files, all your emails, all your messages. Second, it's constantly pulling information from the open, untrusted internet to decide what to do. And third, it can act on your behalf, send messages, buy things, without you giving it a final okay. You put those three things together, and you have a perfect storm for things to go very, very wrong.
Then they did go wrong. Badly. A programmer lost years of his personal data and photos when the agent misunderstood a command and just deleted his entire D drive. A college kid discovered that his agent had created a dating profile for him and was actively chatting with potential matches. It got so bad that the same people who were charging money to install OpenClaw started a new business charging $44 to uninstall it safely for you. The risks became so obvious that the Chinese government eventually had to step in and restrict its use in state agencies.
But even with all those huge risks, the genie was out of the bottle. You couldn't put it back. The biggest names in technology all saw the potential, and they knew they couldn't just ignore it. So the race was on, not to shut OpenClaw down, but to tame it, to secure it, and to build on top of it.
So, what did the rest of the industry do? They pounced. OpenAI's move was brilliant. They just hired the creator Peter Steinberger himself. NVIDIA went and built a secure, corporate version called NemoClaw. Meta launched its own competing desktop agent, and Alibaba announced plans for its own agent service. Everybody is placing their bets because they all agree on one thing: AI agents are the future.
And nobody put a finer point on this than NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang. And what he said, it's huge. He said OpenClaw won't just be some important app. He said it's going to be a foundational tool, as important to the next chapter of the internet as Linux, Kubernetes, or even HTML were to the last one. He's saying this isn't a new feature. It's a whole new layer of the internet.
So what this all really boils down to is a massive paradigm shift. We're moving from one era of AI into another. The first era, the one we're just leaving, was all about generation. AI made things for us. Text from ChatGPT, images from Midjourney, it was our assistant. But we are now entering the second era, the era of action. AI will now complete tasks for us. It's going from an assistant to an actor.
And that really gets to the heart of what's happening. Jensen Huang called OpenClaw the operating system for personal AI. This opens the door to things like one-person companies that have the power of an entire team. The race is on to build these agents safely and get them to everyone. But the biggest question is the one we all have to answer for ourselves. This technology is moving from assistant to actor, from responding to doing. If your personal AI is now an actor in your digital life, what role are you going to have it play?